We're going to talk about that constant nagging feeling, that need to be liked, that need for social validation. And we're going to look at this approval trap in a totally new way. See, it's not some personal weakness or a character flaw. It's actually a deep, ancient biological program that's running the show inside your brain, whether you like it or not. And this quote right here, this is really the key to everything. That little twitch you have, that compulsive habit of refreshing your feed over and over, it's not about vanity. It's not about being obsessed with your phone. It's a survival instinct. Your brain's ancient wiring is just completely misreading the modern world. Today, we're going to figure out exactly why and what you can do about it. So, to really get what's happening under the hood, we need to introduce the main character in this whole drama, your brain. And in this story, your brain plays the part of a relentless, tireless social accountant. Now this is a paradox that is at the very heart of our social lives. Consciously, we all put on the mask, right? We say things like, oh, I really don't care what people think. But deep down, underneath that cool, confident surface, your brain, that little accountant, is doing the complete opposite. It's subconsciously crunching the numbers, constantly running checks on your social standing. And this isn't something you choose to do. It's like a background app on your phone that's always running and you can't close it. This social accountant is always checking your status balance. Because for all of human history, a low balance meant you were in real physical danger. So the big takeaway here is, this isn't about you being needy. It's about your brain's primal, fundamental drive to keep you safe. So what happens when this ancient survival program gets plugged into our modern world and just pushed into overdrive? Well, it creates a very real and often pretty painful problem. This constant hunt for validation can start to feel like you're literally starving for approval. And you know this feeling. I mean, you really know it. You spend all this time crafting the perfect post or that witty text message, right? You hit send and you wait. And what do you get? Crickets, silence, or maybe even worse, just a simple okay. That sinking pit in your stomach, that's not you being dramatic or overly sensitive. That is a real biological alarm bell going off. It's a genuine threat signal screaming to your brain that your social status just took a nosedive. This physical feeling is part of a much bigger, nastier pattern, the validation depletion cycle. See, when you start relying on what other people think to feel good about yourself, you've basically just handed over the keys to your emotional well-being. Your self-worth isn't a constant anymore. It's a variable that some faceless audience gets to mess with, leaving you feeling totally drained and, well, socially starved. And the long-term consequence of being stuck in this cycle, it's a huge deal. It's something called identity fragmentation. You slowly start performing for the audience. You pump up the parts of yourself that get the likes, the positive comments, all the shiny stuff. And at the same time, you hide or shave off the complex, messy, authentic parts that might not play as well. You end up trading your real self for a quick, fleeting hit of social safety. Okay, so how does this whole process actually work inside our heads? This is where we break down the core mechanics, the framework I call the validation loop. Think of it like a high-speed neurological circuit that's designed to keep us hooked. It all kicks off with stage 1, social performance. The moment you share something, your brain is already running simulations of how other people are going to react. Then, if things go well, you get to stage 2, the validation hit. The likes, the shares, the positive comments roll in, and boom, you get a little dopamine spike, a feeling of relief. But it doesn't last. That brings us to stage 3, the crash back down to your sociometric baseline. The notifications stop, the praise dies down, and that silence, it feels threatening. A little bit of panic starts to set in, which immediately triggers stage 4, the performance pivot. To get that good feeling back, you unconsciously start tweaking your next performance, optimizing it for a better reaction, and the loop starts all over again. And this is really the end game when you're trapped in that loop. You're not just living your life anymore based on your own internal compass. You become the CEO of your own personal brand, constantly curating, editing, and managing yourself for an audience. Now, you might be wondering, why is this loop so ridiculously powerful? Why is it so hard to break out of? To get that, we have to go way back in time and look at the deep evolutionary science that actually wrote the code for our tribal brain. This is a huge concept called tribal survival primacy. For pretty much all of human history, being part of the group wasn't just a nice to have. It was a matter of life and death. If you were excluded, you had no food, no protection. Basically, you were done for. Because of this, your brain evolved with a critical, non-negotiable prime directive. It values inclusion more than it values your personal integrity. It would much rather you wear a mask and survive than be your authentic self and get kicked out of the tribe. And this is where the science just gets absolutely wild. Social pain is physical pain. I mean, literally. Modern neuroscience has shown us that the experience of social rejection, getting ignored, being left out, being disapproved of, it lights up the exact same parts of the brain as a physical injury. We're talking about the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, for example. To your brain, there is literally no difference between a broken heart and a broken arm. So this brings us to the very core of our modern mess: evolutionary lag. Your brain is running this ancient survival software designed for a small, high-stakes tribe where every single person's opinion was critical to your survival. But it's trying to run that same software in a digital world with thousands of strangers, where a like from someone you'll never even meet gets misinterpreted as a genuine life-or-death signal of safety. Your brain's hardware just hasn't caught up with the world it's living in. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. We understand the deep, ancient science behind it. Now for the big question: what in the world do we do about it? How do we actually break this cycle and take back control? The whole objective here is to make a really fundamental shift in how we see ourselves. We have to move away from mirroring, from constantly just reflecting back what we think the audience wants, and start moving towards personal sovereignty, where our sense of value is generated and validated from the inside out. And look, here are 4 really practical techniques to help you do just that. First, we have the approval fast, which is all about retraining your brain's fear response. Second is internal mirroring, which is about giving yourself the first vote. Third is the validation source audit, where you get really honest about whose opinions actually matter. And finally, there's dopamine decoupling, finding your rewards somewhere other than social media. Let's just dig into 2 of the most powerful ones you can start today. First up is the approval fast. You can think of this like exposure therapy for your brain. The idea is to intentionally share something that is 100% authentic to you, but not optimized for likes. Maybe it's a messy thought you had or a project that's not quite perfect yet. The whole point is to teach your amygdala, your brain's little fear center, through direct experience that getting a neutral response or not getting a flood of approval does not equal tribal exile. It does not equal death. And the second technique is internal mirroring. This one is so simple, but it is a total game changer. Before you hit send, before you hit post, just pause and ask yourself one simple question. Do I respect this? Am I proud of this? By giving yourself that validation first, that internal nod of approval, you dramatically turn down the volume on that frantic, urgent need for the external hit. The validation from outside becomes a nice bonus, not the whole point of the exercise. So, when you start practicing these techniques, it leads you to our final and, honestly, our most important idea. It's about a deep, profound shift in your perspective. It's about moving from being a reflection, a mirror, to becoming the source itself. This right here captures the entire journey we've been talking about. Over on the left, when you're operating as a mirror, your value comes from reflecting other people's praise. It's fragile, it's dependent. But on the right, when you become the source, your value comes from the act itself, from the integrity of what you're doing. Praise from others is still great, don't get me wrong, but it's just a reflection of something that's already real. It shifts from being a desperate need to have to just being a simple nice to have. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. That nod of approval, the one you're so desperately looking for from the entire world, it's the exact same nod you've been refusing to give yourself. You don't need to wait for a round of applause to do the work that matters to you, or to share an idea you believe in, or to just be who you are. The truth is, you already have all the permission you will ever need.